Hello everyone and welcome back to the Red Sea podcast. Welcome back to one of the usually chaotic episodes. This time not only filled by a very, very chaotic post-game review, post-derby review, but also filled with a day full of news, a day full of outs for Olympiacos, but a day that also entails some ins, perhaps. So we have a lot to talk about. So I'll get into it almost immediately. Actually, we have both a lot to talk about, and it feels like we have very few and general things to say. So we'll see how this goes. It's one of the episodes where I am not necessarily unplanned, but I consider it unpredictable, quite a bit, at least. So let's get into the football. As always, comment-wise, you can copy the link that's on the screen right now. If you want to join me, you want to come on, speak your mind, share your opinions, as always. Otherwise, do comment freely on whatever and with whatever you so wish. So, let's get straight into it. What even happened? We come off a historic, deserved, well-earned, and many more adjectives that can be used for our Champions League qualification to the round of 32, quote unquote. And we head first into a derby away at AEK, at the OLY Arena, and chaos ensues. Absolute chaos ensues. In my opinion, I said that yesterday, I'll say it again quite openly. While I thought that we were the better team, with how things went, I think a draw is a fair result. Like, looking back at it in the end, and especially given the circumstances of let's not lie to ourselves, of the absolute exhaustion of the team, and given the circumstances of the tough schedule coming up, thinking about the absences of one, Lorenzo Pirola, and the last-minute absence of the injured for a few days now, even though no one really knew, Ayoub El Kabi. A draw is a fair result, and I can't say I'm mad at the performance. I really can't go out here and say I'm mad at the performance. Except from some minor mistakes, one of which, of course, led right into a goal. The opener, the goal by Varga. I think we treated the derby accordingly. I'll open it with a question to you all. Whether you're watching now, whether you are listening after, whether you're on Spotify, do comment below what you think about this in general, because I'm a bit confused, to say the least. What could we have done differently so as to not go into the derby with one striker? And I'll I'll analyze my question. Because, of course, the obvious thing was to have waited a bit to send Roman Yaremchuk off. I don't think that if we told Roman Yaremchuk that, we need you for the game, he'd have said, no, I want to leave. But because you never know, because you never actually know, could we have brought up someone from the academy? Could we have worked out another solution, perhaps giving Zelson more minutes up front, maybe bringing on Andre Luiz as a striker, even though that would be harsh on his debut, and we'll get into Andre Luiz. I just think that one thing that perhaps could have been done and treated better was the situation heading into the game. I feel like that's the first thing to focus on, even before the first whistle of the game. Going into positives, though, I was very happy with how we performed as a majority, at least. Of course, kept possession, were way more active, passing-wise, and in general, our pressing was more than effective. Our pressing was more than effective. I am happy not necessarily because we played as we should have, but I'm happy because for 60 minutes is minimum, we full on controlled the rhythm of the game. Of course, momentum changed as soon as we conceded. Momentum, of course, changed as soon as we conceded. And God, do we need to fix something about how we defend set pieces? Because I'm sorry, but Vargas scored that goal unmatched. Like, no one jumped. No one jumped. So we need to do something about that. But on a more general note, on a more general, positive at least, I do believe that we played Mendy's football like usual very well. We did it very well. And I don't have that much to say about personal performances, but I'll head into the first of the few of which I want to talk about. And as always, you are more than free to drop your MVP down below in the comments. And the man that I personally gave my MVP to, despite it being a very close choice, it was the man that it really looks like he won't stop improving anytime soon. It really looks like he may even solidify himself as a starter in this team. And that's Lolo Scipioni. Someone that we went from not seeing at all to seeing him put an incredible effort in at that derby against Panathinaikos, to then seeing him a few times again in the cup. He had an injury in between that time as well. And then he's been building step by step. He was, in my opinion, at the very least, our most steady force in the midfield for the 85 minutes he played, that is. And he was damn near flawless again as well. Of course, 81% on the accurate passes, honestly, more than impressive for 85 minutes, of course, he had 52 touches with 75 meters carried. But in my opinion, the best part of his game was his 10 defensive contributions, his 4 out of 6 tackles won, 2 crucial interceptions, 2 incredible clearances, and 5 recoveries, with a majority of ground duels won as well. Also, for another game, 0 times dribbled past. Lolo keeps improving at a scary rate. And it's not only the quality that he brings. I'm glad that we agree. It's not only the quality that he brings to the game. It's the consistency as well. Because you can have someone that's amazing, but not consistent. And Scipione is improving slowly but surely, step by step. And he's doing it game in and game out. That's why I'm so happy that he's finally getting more and more time. I couldn't be happier about that. Now, flipping back onto a negative, this is perhaps one of the only two, aside from the defending on the goal, one of the only two issues that I have with the game. I have talked a lot about our effectiveness issue. I've talked a lot about our attack issue this season, especially in the Superleague. And in a way, despite it being very shameful, Ike did the thing that most teams that have stopped, at least for a portion of the game, that have stopped when delivers football, have done. And that's just spam low blocks. They played, someone told me that, and I agree, actually. They played like Panetolikos. And the fact that Greek media, as shameful as they are, you'll know who I'm talking about, past the game plan of Nikolic, past it for something genius that is against Olympiacos. I know he did that, but he didn't get rewarded fully and stuff like that. Like, we've seen, mind you, we play them on Wednesday. We've seen Asteras be a pain because of how far back they stand, hoping and praying for a counter-attack. And I did the same thing. So I'm sorry, it's not something genius. You just played anti-football. It's as simple as that, at least in hindsight and at least in my eyes. But the one thing that brought was the missed chances. Not that we had a lot, but we really should have gotten a goal or two from open play. I was trying to recall, I'm trying to look for them now as well. I was trying to recall what happened in general, and I wanted to recall two plays. I remember the main one, and that, of course, is Roddy's chance. I am not necessarily gonna go after Rodinei for that, because perhaps One, he didn't expect it. Two, he's a right back. But the fact that Francisco Ortega could burst through and drive in that ball across the line, and Roddy couldn't just punt it in, and he hit it sadly that week, so as Strakosha could clear it off the line, is a shame. But nothing really that I am gonna go at ordinary for. Of course, just to not only speak about how Tomas Strakosha is another name of goalkeepers that turn into Manuel Neuer when they play against us. Jolakis then immediately responded with a save off the line from Zini's shots. I think the next play, so both keepers had their own moments, but in general, Tomas Strakosha had 5 saves. And that's enough to say why my main problem is this. But moving on to the chaos at the death of the game. And the lifeline that we got by Andre Luis. What a game to debut at. What a chaotic game to debut at. Andre Luis, of course, coming in as technically our record signing, as his fee can go up to 16 million. So, record broken by a landslide as well. Coming in to play 19 minutes, being thrown in the deep end immediately, and seemingly having no problem with it. It wasn't a debut to just sit here and say, wow, but it was a debut that proved to be very, very effective. It was a debut that proved that he has the strength, he has the speed, he has the passion. And even if he can't pull out a goal or an assist, he can earn a way for Olympiacos to score a different way. As, of course, as he cut in on his own, he got punted. I don't think there's a better way to say it. He got intercepted by Harold Mukudi. As I want to go back to, before I fully talk about how the penalty came to be, I want to go back to this for a millisecond. Because after the penalty got ignored for a start, then we missed some insane chances. I'm not really going to go at anyone because it was a hard sequence, but God, how did none of those go in? As I'm pretty sure Taremi first hits it at Strakosha, then the ball bounces back, then Yazici finds it. I'm pretty sure it gets saved, it bounces back to Yazici and it gets blocked. So that was chaos. But, or was it, I think it was Yazici first, then Taremi, then Yazici again. It was one of the two. I am getting a bit confused with the sequence. I was a bit confused with that sequence, even when I saw it, but nonetheless. We have Harold Mukudi intercepting Andre Luis in the box. Chaos ensues as the ref says, wait. Barczyk happens. They call him for an on-field. Ref goes over. On-field review happens. And pen is given. So, what Andre Luiz managed to do on his debut, other than provide great fire and passion and effectiveness, like let's not lie to ourselves, in 19 minutes. Of course, he had a shot to his name, but he didn't really get a chance to be effective in that way. He created a big chance. He had one key pass. He had 11 out of 12 accurate passes, 92%, all in the opposing half. He had 21 touches. He won the penalty, as we mentioned, covering quite a lot of distance of 64 meters in 19 minutes. And he had one recovery to his name as well. So, Andre Luiz wins the penalty. It's given. And in the 116th minute, Taremi scores, converts the penalty, goes and stashes the fans as Roddy chases him like a very happy kid would chase his sibling, which was an amazing celebration. And of course, we scored at that goal on the 116th minute. I saw someone saying, if not there and then when? And I couldn't agree more with that statement. And then I spoke about it. That celebration was amazing and it was something that got us very hyped up. But to speak about the honor of Mehdi Taremi, not even 5 minutes after, while the whole kerfuffle, the whole chaotic scene was going on with Iliopoulos screaming at the ref and stuff like that, he went over to the ultras and apologized. And I'll kind of quote myself in this situation from my own post. But we've seen players, coaches, and staff, STAFF, that kind of stuff, do things towards the fans way worse and shushing them. And we've not seen a hint of apology from any of them. So, as I said earlier, and as I will say now as well, we don't only have the best striker duo in the league, we have the most honorable one as well, which is an even bigger honor for us as a club. But yeah, all that happens. I don't really want to get into the chaos of what happened after the penalty got scored. Of course, Iliopoulos just completely clowning himself, going after the ref, going after Mendilibar. Stuff that happened in the tunnel with allegedly AEK fans threatening and hurling insults and stuff at the team. And a lot happened that shouldn't happen. A lot happened that, as Mendy himself said, it's just not good for Greek football. And it seems that should honestly be avoided. But moving on. It's 1-1 and it's +1 for Olympiacos as they head into some very, very tough games ahead of them. Of course, as mentioned, we have Asteras as our rescheduled game. Then we have Panathinaikos. Then we have Olympiacos before heading into our very, 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 very important game against Leverkusen. I said this before the Ajax game. I said this with Ajax as well. And we even said this before this whole run of games started, we are playing half our season in these games. And even with a +1, even without things game, it's all very much in our hands still. As we are 2 points behind AEK and 1 point behind PAOK, with a game less. Of course, PAOK has a game less than AEK as well. And of course, Olympiacos 5 points behind us. Every game from now on is a must win. We only have a few rounds left until the playoffs begin, with a lot of very important European games in the middle of them. We need to manage the roster. We need to manage injuries. Hopefully, by Thursday, a center back comes in, because let's not kid ourselves. The team needs a center back. That's a given, I feel like. And hopefully we can manage everything. I don't think we'll have neither Ayub nor Lorenzo Pirola for Asteras. Pirola is a certainty, Ayub is a maybe, but I would rather him sit out Asteras just to be safe, given that hopefully at least Clayton is going to be ready for Asteras, but we'll see on that. I don't even know if he's been announced. I don't know if he's been announced while I'm live streaming. Does someone do update me on that if you can? But yeah, I'm hoping that Clayton is going to be ready for Asteras. And then, given that everyone is a maybe for Panathinaikos, hopefully we'll have a full and healthy squad by next Sunday. Olympiacos isn't a game, especially Olympiacos away, isn't a game to underestimate as well. It really isn't. And yeah, we need to be quite careful as we move on. Now, I mostly talked about the schedule, but I want to focus on one specific thing. It's step by step until then, but of course, our round of quote unquote 32 Champions League opponent is Bayer Leverkusen. I did write an article when the draw came out, so I'll probably, if I remember at least, I'll put that in the description for those of you that want to check that out. But I'm both confident and I'm both hesitant, if that makes sense. I want to hope that we are actually gonna show up a better team, which sounds ironic given the result, because we did beat Leverkusen 2-0. But I am hoping that we'll show up a better team than we did in the 2-0 victory. Because, as I said right before Ajax, we can't keep relying on a Jolakis masterclass. Not because he can't actually go on and do it. He can. But it's not sustainable to rely on your goalkeeper. We need to show up from Jolakis to El Khabib, to the last person on the bench, to Mendilibar, to the fans. We need to show up even better than we did last time. And I'm sure we will make another miracle happen. Hopefully, we can nullify Alejandro Grimaldo like we did last time. Hopefully, it will be more like our Europa League last year defense, and will be basically impenetrable, more or less. Zolagis, I'm sure, will show up as he did last time we faced them. Scipioni is in the rotation, is in the equation, say it however you wanna. We have Andre Luiz now. Stuff's looking okay. We'll probably have Clayton in the list. I'm being a bit more general because we need to wait and see what the changes are going to be on Thursday. And we'll head into the transfer chaos and the stuff in general that will probably ensue some of the changes on the European list. But yeah, I'm confident with an asterisk on top. But let's get into it because it's a lot. It's a lot. A day of announcements, an entire day that started, of course, with Gabriel Strefezza leaving to return to the Serie A to help Parma stay up in the Serie A. And Gabriel Strefezza has been informed, and also Olympiacos has been informed by Parma that if Parma do actually stay up, they do want to negotiate for the permanent transfer of the Brazilian winger. And of course, Gabriel's move will completely coincide with Andre Luiz being added to the European list. Gustavo Mansa, who we've been calling to be loaned out for a while, gets loaned out to Rio Ave until the end of the season, which will help him massively in getting solid minutes under his feet and getting his development going even faster. Yusuf Yazici was set to go on loan back to Lille, but will thankfully stay with Olympiacos. And honestly, hopefully he's one of the additions to the European list. I really hope he is. Nikos Athanasiou has returned from his loan to Rio Ave, but he will more than likely, as probably was expected, not continue his career at Olympiacos and move on to another Superleague team. And I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. Roman Yaremchuk. Roman Yaremchuk goes on loan to Lyon. The loan fee is 1.5 million, actually, which almost covers his entire transfer fee. So even if the option doesn't go through in the summer, we're net neutral on that aspect. But Yaremchuk had a very interesting message on his story, which of course I posted as well if you all want to go see it, over on Instagram and over on Twitter. Roman Yaremchuk said, of course, that he gave his all to the team, he appreciates the fans, he wishes us the best, but that some stuff didn't get appreciated. Of course, that probably does entail with him being third in the pecking order this season. I understand both sides, both Taremi getting more playtime, but Yaremchuk wanting to get more playtime, given what he has given to the team, because Yaremchuk has given a lot to this team. But in my eyes, at the very least, he leaves nothing less than a legend. And hopefully this is a see you soon and not a goodbye, because I do kind of hope that he does return in the summer. But share your opinions on that, whether you agree or disagree below. And I'm not going to be mad because I saw some reactions. I'm really not going to be mad at him expressing himself the way he did, because he was honest, and honesty is the best policy, even if you end up throwing quote unquote shots at some people. He is forever going to be remembered as a legend. He is Olympiacos' tank, and will forever be Olympiacos' tank, as he acknowledged as well. And we wish him nothing but the best. Also, closing off, one last bit of news is that Gelson Martins, after proving himself at the biggest stage in football, gets a well-deserved renewal with a wage increase. Of course, Gelson had an automatic +1 team option that got renewed either way until 2027, but Olympiacos wanted to keep him on. So the restructuring of his contract has it ending until 2028 with another +1 option until 2029. Chaotic day, and it's probably nowhere near over yet, despite being 11. So I'll see you all in the next one. I spaced out some of the stuff that we were going to talk about to not bombard you all with content, because as much as I want to keep posting stuff, I both don't want to spam any platform, and I really don't want you guys to get bored of anything. But I will probably see you all tomorrow for a post game of a very early EuroLeague game, as it's at 6 p.m. Greek time, which is crazy for a EuroLeague game. And then we have Wednesday show for Asteras, and then we'll talk on Friday for the second EuroLeague post game of the week. Go check out all the links in the description. Like, subscribe, as always, if you like what you see. And did I not talk about Zelson? That's a very valid point, actually. Speaking of his renewal, he was more than impactful, as always. His impact really did get overshadowed, perhaps, by the new boy, but he was very impactful as well. And again, that goes back to the point that I was saying, that except from the effectiveness in front of goal and the defending on Vargas' goal, there's really no complaints from yesterday. So as I was saying, I'll see you all tomorrow for basketball. And as always, because I appreciate it more day by day, your support is incredible. Thank you.